Some more coming up in today's Going Underground, but first, on this day in 1962, singer Bob Dylan recorded the song that would make him a star, Blowin' in the Wind. He introduced it by saying it was no protest song. Later, though, he said that the greatest protest song ever written was by someone we speak to today. We caught up with the Grammy Award-winning artist and film star known for You Can Get It If You Really Want, Harder They Come, Many Rivers to Cross, I Can See Clearly Now, and countless others. Jimmy Cliff speaks to us at a hotel in West London. Jimmy, you're touring across Europe, across the world. The big talk here across the world, obviously Trump's America, but here is, after the injustice, after the wars, there is migration. And at the moment, the European Union is cutting down on migrants. What is behind the song Refugees? Something slightly
you've
different.
heard that.
Something slightly different. Not actually about this kind of migration.
Oh, yeah, but Refugees was triggered by the migration situation that was going on in, some of the places I called, they come across the sea, come into Italy, come from Libya, come all over. And so that touched me. And, as I'm touched by it, I expressed it. Refugee situation has been going on for quite a while. So why I mentioned Jesus Christ went to Egypt for refuge is because the fundamental Christianity and all the monotheistic religions for that matter.
You talk about Muhammad as well.
Yeah, all the monotheistic religions, that came out of Abrahamism. They all, in their holy books, they write about Egypt as a bad place. And yet, they had to go there. If I hear that one ghetto in London is a bad place, and my son or daughter is in a bad way, I'm not going to send my son and daughter there. But if it's a good place, and my son or daughter needs refuge, I'd send them there. So it contradicts what they're saying about Egypt being a bad place. Absolutely not, wasn't.
Well, the scandal here, and the Prime Minister calls it a scandal, I think even now, is the Windrush scandal about the deportation of men, women and children of Afro-Caribbean descent who came in the 40s, 50s to build our National Health Service and so on. It came as a shock to the elites in the society that something like that could happen. And they've lost many of the children in the system. I don't know whether you heard about the Windrush scandal?
Yeah, a majority of the people are void of the knowledge of what went on in those days before, and they came. No one teach their children about it. It's not something that is inclusive in the school system and all of that. So if one wants to know about social justice for real, one has to do some research. And so, that is it's not right. It's just not right.
What was it like when you first visited Britain from Jamaica?
They wanted to send me back.
What year are we talking about when you first came to London?
1965. 65, yeah. They wanted to send me back because, all the red tape situation, passport, and you don't have that, and you don't have that. And so, fortunately or unfortunately, the record company that invited me, they were there, and, they can pull strings. And so they call up that one, that's my friend, and they call, that's how the system works. And so they could call up somebody and say, hey, this person is all right, he's coming here. But when I came out, I wanted to go back on the plane.
Why?
Too foggy, too cold. And I said, wow, what is this? I look around, I left my warm, sunny Jamaica. Is this what I come for? No, I wanted to go back. However, I stayed, and among other things, I gained a wealth of knowledge.
Did you see that in, there's a story that you helped discover Bob Marley and Desmond Dekker in a welding shop in Jamaica?
Let's clarify that story.
Is that true?
Straight. Let's make it straight. I don't discover them in a welding shop. They were both working in a welding shop together. And Desmond Dekker came to me, and I auditioned him, and he got his song recorded. So he therefore went back to Bob, where they used to work, and sang together. And Bob said they sang together. And told Bob, and Bob came down, and I auditioned him, and he got his first songs recorded just the same, you know. So I didn't discover them. I just was the man at the gate.
No one's heard of Bob Marley nowadays, anyway. But anyway, today, names like Malcolm X, MLK, Che Guevara, big names that are now famous in the 21st century. Did you get to meet Malcolm X?
Strangest thing is, when I went to New York, the day Malcolm X was going to speak, I was on my way to the ballroom, and I heard that, don't worry to go, he's gone. So that's it.
And why were you interested in the bad civil rights over the good one, as it's seen now in history books? Martin Luther King, he's okay, and before the Vietnam speech, and Malcolm, violent and dangerous.
Well, I don't know, you know, the media or the establishment promote who they want to promote, but when you look at like those two freedom fighters, their paths were kind of different, you know. Malcolm was blunt and just get to the point, and maybe a streak of violence in him, you know, fight fire with fire. Maybe the streak of that was in him after he left the Black Muslim movement, because he wasn't like that when he was in the Black Muslim movement. Martin, being a fundamentalist religious man, he went about it in a different way. So Malcolm, I could identify with a lot, because
even though the experience in the United States in a city is so different, arguably, from Jamaica?
Yeah, Malcolm is a street guy. He grew up on the street, and he knew the rough life of the street. Martin was not like that. He wasn't a street man, but he was eloquent. And he did speak truth as well, and his cause was for justice too. But he went about it different.
When it comes to the avowed politics in, say, Marley's music and in yours, some critics saying Marley's music is more explicitly revolutionary, your song was used by a former British Prime Minister who appointed our present Prime Minister in the Home Office. What did you make of David Cameron using You Can Get It If You Really Want? And this is our Prime Minister who created the conditions for Brexit, actually, leaving the European Union.
Well, Mr. Cameron touched a very sensitive spot in me when he came to Jamaica, and we were talking about reparation. And he said, oh, that's a long time ago. Don't you say, what? The Jews did not say that. That's a long time ago. They never make the world forget what happened to them. Oh, why shouldn't we be paid for repairs? And you said you free slaves. You free them with what? What you got to live on? Without a penny? So where is the repairs? So when Mr. Cameron said that, it really touched me deeply.
In fairness to the authorities, in fact, there's a Mau Mau case about Kenya going through. The government says they lose quite a few of the papers about the owned slaves, the assets taken from the Caribbean, and so on. You think that is a live issue, this reparations, this issue of reparations?
Oh, absolutely. It's justice, you know. It's right. It should be looked at. It should be done, you know. Justice is justice. It's like the law of Mahat.
The Lost Poets came on our show, and they're still protesting injustice, talking about these kinds of issues. Where was your education in all this about how to deal with injustice, not just at Jamaica, colonial Jamaica, but around the world? Where did you read all this?
Marcus Garvey, from my early beginnings, what I can remember. My father, even though a religious man, was a very just man. He would never allow any kind of wrongdoing to slip by under his eyes, under his watch, or anyway. He was a tailor.
Yeah, but you're talking about wrongdoing on such a big scale in some of your songs.
I know, but you see, when a small seed is planted in one, if that was already inside of you, it grows. It grows. You have it or you don't have it. So I already have the sensibility inside of me about justice. That was in me. It's a part of me. It's a part of my being. It's a part of my DNA.
Jimmy Cliff, thank you.
Thank you, and I say bless up RTTV.
After the break.